All right, friends. Hey, it's T-Man. I'm back, and I'm gonna do a reaction video to Blaha's video he just posted. The gym lifting, recruiting, fitness, gear slave himself, Jason Blaha. Man, Blaha says gaining muscle is a slow process. Patience will save you a lot of setbacks. I'm gonna have to disagree with that. It's actually a very fast process, but okay.
Gaining muscle is an extremely slow process. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today.
And before he goes on, I'm going to tell you there's two types of muscle growth. He says it's a slow process. I can prove to you they're both fast. There's myofibrillar hypertrophy and sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. One is artificial and one is real. Okay, so a myofibrillar hypertrophy is based on an adaptation process. That's how muscles they build these myofibrillars. Now, when it comes to sarcoplasmic, it is not regulated by follistatin, myostatin, or the satellite cell, or it's not constrained to nuclei to get the sarcoplasm to get bigger. It is not constrained to any of these things. Therefore, there's no limit. It can get exponentially massive. And what is it based on? Glycogen loading. What is the best type of carbohydrate to get this glycogen? Complex carbohydrates. They work the best to increase the sarcoplasm and get these steroidal look kind of muscles, okay? Now, myofibrillar. Can it be slow? Well, it's going to be well, let's just put it this way. It'll be slower than the sarcoplasmic hypertrophy shit if you're doing that. It's going to be a little bit slower because it's going to be a lot harder because it's constrained to follistatin, myostatin, and the satellite cell and these myonuclei because muscles have a myonuclear domain size limit. You understand me? Every time they get an adaptation, they get an influx of these nuclei, but then at some point they cut off. They don't keep making more of them. And if you are adapted to your exercises and you're doing 30 days in a row or 5 days every week lifting, well, these nuclei, my friends, I have news for you. They are post-mitotic. They themselves do not split and divide and create an increase in number so that you can further this muscle growth of that myonuclear domain. Okay, get it, bro? It has to be donated by the satellite cell. The satellite cell has to donate its myonuclei. Yes, the myonuclei themselves that are there, they do not split and divide and increase in number just because you're lifting a weight. That's right. So how do you get them? You get them in an adaptation. What is this adaptation? Well, muscles have to damage. They have to get micro damaged. And now they adapt by repairing and remodeling a lot bigger and stronger so that when you come back a second time, they're more resilient from further assaults from your shitty workouts. So your shitty workout has to be better than the last time. Get it? That's the problem why you can't get this adaptation because your workouts are shitty. They have to be much better than the last time. All right.
And again, this is one of these topics that so many people try to sell you shortcuts, and the truth is it's a scam if they're trying to sell you a shortcut.
Yeah, that's funny. In the gym I'm going to now, these kids were like talking next to me. They were on the Smith machine. I was near the weight rack there, the dumbbell rack. And they were like, yeah, everybody's got, they were talking about me. They were even whispering steroids, something, whatever. And they were like, yeah, everybody thinks they have the special thing. Because I talked to one kid. I guess he went there and he was like lifting with them, doing the bench press. And they go, yeah, everybody has the special secret to build muscle. There isn't a secret. You simply, when it comes to myofibrillar growth, it's based on eccentric exercises because they're the ones that cause damage to the myofibrillar. The eccentric part of that motion will cause these micro tears to the muscle fiber if they're done repetitively, like an overworking of that muscle. It has to be overworked, it has to be heavy, it has to be rapid firing, it has to be continuous, a bunch of stuff. And it can't happen frequently. It can only happen periodically. You understand me? So yeah, that's myofibrillar. There you go. So it's secret. There's no secret. Now, if you're coming in often in the gym, and specifically if you're just doing if you're doing a lot of concentric work, that is endurance. That's endurance lifting. You are an endurance athlete, and so you're going to get a lot of sarcoplasmic hypertrophy because you're pumping. If you're pumping, that's what you're getting. You're getting the pump. All right. Now, I'm not saying that you can't get a pump as well if you come in periodically. Specific, you're going to get a massive pump if you come in periodically and you were to eat these complex carbohydrates while trying to get an adaptation in muscle damage doing eccentric work. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you're going to get a pump and all that too. See what I mean? But it's not like these guys coming into the gym continuously pumping their muscles up. You know what I mean? Like with inflating their muscles, especially with inflammation. They're also getting an inflammatory response. There's some, I don't know. There's other shit going on there. Lactic acid buildup and yada yada yada.
There is no fast way to build permanent muscle. It just isn't.
Yes, it happens fast. It happens in an adaptation, and it has to be done consecutively. It can't be done. It can't be. It can only be done periodically. It can't be done frequently. And so every time you come in periodically, you'll get an adaptation, providing you overwork those muscles. They have to be overworked. That's why a superior workout would be a full upper body workout, but that's grueling for some people. They can't handle that. And then the next day they do legs. And then legs have to be done so much more because the upper body, we're working all the muscle groups. So they're constantly getting overworked, going from upper, middle, lower chest and flies. And now we're going to do what? Our back. And all these movements for our back, and then we're going to do what? Our shoulders, then we're going to do our arms, our forearms, our abs, our neck. So that's a lot of overworking of a muscle, definitely. Okay.
Degree, and again, even sometimes when people are using copious amounts of stuff, they're like, well, there's a shortcut. Well, some of those things, it's
yeah, copious amounts of steroids, but that would be cosmetic. So that's for cosmetic purposes. That's temporary. Like any cosmetic a woman or somebody uses, it's going to be temporary. You have to keep using it. But the problem with steroids are they're extremely toxic. They destroy you, man.
Or muscle that you may lose faster than you realize, or a lot of it is actually storage factors, depending upon what people are taking. Even that is not the shortcut that people really believe it is. Again, you'd be shocked how many of these guys who do blow up pretty quick fade quick, okay, because they can't sustain even what they're taking. So what you have to understand, gaining muscle is a slow process, and you have to be. And I always remind people of.
No, he's wrong. He says you have to be patient and consistent, whatever. Yada. No. You have to be consistent if you're trying to get these adaptations, because you have to be in a positive nitrogen balance. Why is that? Because to be in a positive nitrogen balance, you need to eat a lot. And so you convert the catabolic hormone to an androgen so it doesn't compete with the myocytic androgen receptor. You need to make sure you're repaired and remodeled on the 7th day when you come back every 7th day to try to get those muscles to damage again with whatever, to get them to damage again so that you can get an adaptation. That's the whole point. And you need to stay in a positive nitrogen balance, pretty much anabolic that whole time. So you may allocate, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, or 5 months, or maybe 6 months, and you come in every 7th day to try to damage these muscles to get an adaptation. Now, I can't tell you exactly how much muscle you're going to build every single week when you come back. I can't tell you that. That's dependent on how much damage you got in the muscle fiber and how much nuclei you got and how much you're eating. Maybe you're damaging, but you're not eating. Or maybe you're eating and you're not damaging. I don't know. It's either something. Everything has to be in order. One thing can't be off for it to work. I'm sorry, or otherwise it's not working. But like I said, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, that's the alternative. If you can't beat him, then join him. Do it like all these steroid people. Get a 100-pound bag of potatoes and just wolf them down and go work out and get pumped. And you're gonna get these massive phony muscles, okay?
this, and they're like, well, this is too slow. That's like,
They require a lot of maintenance. They require maintenance. Got to keep coming back in the gym and pumping them all the time because otherwise they'll deflate.
but it's not, are you making gains? You know, and that's why I tell people they want to bulk too fast and they don't understand how the data shows that a big calorie surplus.
Listen to what he said. They want to bulk too fast. I thought weights build muscles, not bulking. Do weights build muscles? Well, everybody's trying to convince you that if you get a stronger, you're going to get a bigger. So why is Blaha telling you you have to bulk? I thought a stronger gets you a bigger. A stronger is going to get you a bigger. So how does that work exactly? How does a stronger get you bigger? Or do you get a fatter? If you get a fatter on the bulker, on a bulking diet, you get a fatter, you get a bigger? Oh, I see. Okay.
This doesn't actually cause any more muscle growth, okay? It doesn't matter that you feel like you're stronger because it really is changing the leverages and stuff, and you're.
But you feel stronger, you mean you feel stronger at lifting a heavy weight. So you got better at lifting weights, but you never got any physical adaptations. They tapped out after during the newbie gain phase.
Not even actually working the muscles harder a lot of times. So people think, well, that must be stimulating more growth then, but it really isn't. It really isn't. And there's data on that that's understood in a lot of circles. You know, so people, they want.
Yeah, I've done enough videos on the data on lifting. People already know, are familiar with my channel. And my old channel, I've talked about it before, okay? There is no hypertrophy without hyperplasia. Now, I'm not saying certain things can't hypertrophy in your body without getting more nuclei. You can, but it can only hypertrophy to a degree from what is there already originally. It can hypertrophy, but it only hypertrophy so much. See what I mean? You're going to have to need an addition of these nuclei to support what? Further muscle growth, if that's what you want. But if you don't want that, stay on newbie gains and then cry about it. And if you don't like that, you can always cheat and take steroids like everybody else and then die early. I don't know. Or deflate when you can't afford to take them anymore, or whatever happens to you, get older or some shit, or your wife gets pissed off. You're trying to maintain these phony muscles with like these toxic steroid drugs. Well, then there you go.
Bulk too fast. Okay, that's a big thing that happens. They get impatient, or they run through a little bit of noob gains, and noob gains can be pretty quick, right? They can be pretty quick if everything is good. You're pushing hard.
Well, of course, noob gains could be quick because what is it based on? What did I bring up from NCBI? What's a unique feature of eccentric exercise is that untrained subjects become stiff and sore the next day due to what? Muscle damage. That's the newbie gain phase. It doesn't say trained muscles. It doesn't say trained individuals. It says untrained. A unique feature, listen to the word, a unique feature of eccentric exercise, eccentric, is that untrained subjects become stiff and sore the next day due to muscle damage. Okay, what happens to trained subjects when they start coming in and they're trained? It's what is it? It's sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Okay.
You're recovering, you're getting your protein in, and then it will.
You're recovering and getting your protein in. Not necessarily. You're just protein turnover now. Look, man, I can prove, like I said, I'll do this one more time really fast. So, while okay, whatever, right there. This is from NCBI. See that thing down there? Okay. Eccentric contractions. So a unique feature of eccentric exercise is that untrained subjects become stiff and sore the day afterwards because of damage to muscle fibers. So that's what untrained subjects get. Now let's find out what trained subjects get. And it tells you here, this damage is commonly known as delayed onset muscle soreness, okay? They tell you right here, causes this untrained subject stiff and sore. Okay, so what do trained people get? Let's find out. So, what do trained subjects get? Oh, here we are. 6 weeks high resistance training in trained young men is largely attributed to what? Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. See that, dude? Now, what type of muscle growth is? So what is sarcoplasmic hypertrophy? Is a type of artificial muscle growth. Oh, essentially, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy is a type of artificial muscle growth. Yeah, man. See that? You're training the muscles for no other reason than to increase the size visually by increase the amount of fluid it can hold. I would call that energy, the fluid it can hold. But you're not increasing the density of the muscle fibers, which that fluid can also be inflammatory inflammation, plus the sarcoplasm and a bunch of things, and lactic acid buildup and yada yada. So there you go, friends. I always prove what I say.
Slow down, and the longer you train, the slower it goes. Okay, and people.
The longer you train, the slower it goes. No, the longer you train, the more adapted you are. So you have to vary it. You have to vary it out. It has to be periodically and not consistently. That's the difference between. Look, the difference between. Okay, if you're trying to just get better at lifting weights, then you can come in consistently and lift weights. You'll get better at lifting a heavy weight. Now, if you want to build muscular strength and get bigger and stronger, well, then that's so you never ever get injuries and you get super strong and a bunch of stuff, naturally super strong. Well, then you're going to have to come in periodically. Now, when it comes to sarcoplasmic, well, you can still kind of get it lifting a heavy weight, but you can also get it in a damaging session, but you can also get it in a lifting heavy session because it is based on glycogen loading. Remember, for every gram of glycogen, 3 grams of water drawn between skin and muscle into the muscle.
Aren't consistent, and this is the big problem that so many people run into who are like, why am I not getting these results? But then it's because they're not willing.
Because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. That's why. They don't know how to train. They don't know how to train to get these adaptations, like lifting a heavy weight or getting these. The most they already know about lifting a heavy weight. This is going to happen automatically. The sarcoplasmic, I think they're not really too sure. And then there's myofibrillar growth. They just don't know how to. They just don't understand it.
To stick out the consistent long enough, okay? Because what happens? They bulk too fast.
Yeah, they got fat too fast. They bulked fat. Got fat fast. Yeah.
Okay, they bulk too fast. They might get some gains, but then they have to cut because they get too sloppy fat.
No. Yeah, they did get gains. They got fat gains. Fat. They got some fat and artificial gains. Yeah.
And they cut too fast. Well, what happens when you cut too fast? You lose the bit of muscle you gain. So
no, you did because you didn't gain any muscle. That was the problem. You got fat. You didn't gain any muscle. Muscle is gained in an adaptation, or you get this sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. So if you cut, that glycogen is going to leave the system and you're going to look flat.
In other words, if you overbulk, let's say instead of just gaining a pound a month, right? Person gains 3 pounds a month for 6 months, or 4 pounds a month. I've seen plenty.
That's very little. And what type of poundage is this, Blaha? Is it sarcoplasmic, myofibrillar? You never mentioned what this is.
Guys do that. Okay? You didn't gain more than a pound of muscle per month in that 6 months.
I mean, Blaha's trying to keep up these phony gains that he has by constantly lifting in the garage because it's an inflammatory response. He's just inflaming his muscles from lifting. How many people do you know that come back from work, jobs where they have to stand all day or walking or whatever or lifting, and you notice when they take their boots off, whatever, their feet are completely inflamed. There's inflammation in their legs, their feet. Their hands look massive. They're using their hands all day, 6 hours straight, doing something on these jobs, like picking shit or whatever the hell they're doing there. They come back and they have massive inflammatory responses. They look bloated. They look massive. Their hands are huge and everything. And every day they come back doing that same job, it just keeps inflaming their bodies. There's constant inflammation. That's why their lifespan is cut short and they die because too much labor, too much inflammation from labor, and then you can get also a lot of inflammation in your cells from eating an artificial, toxic drug diet. Yeah.
Okay, let's be clear on this.
Yes.
Unless you just joined the gym and you were starting from scratch with an empty bar, you probably aren't gaining 2 pounds a month. You probably aren't. So you gained a pound a month. Well, you would have gained that same pound had you only gained a pound of body weight a month. See what I mean, guys? So you ended up gaining 24 pounds, so 18 pounds of fat. Well, then they want to cut, and they're like,
Well, these arms are never going to get big by doing these 10-pound weights, that's for sure.
man, now I'm 24. I got 18 pounds of extra body fat. I'm gonna cut 2 pounds of it a week. Well, which means when you start cutting 2 pounds a week from that, what do you think happens? Because you also got impatient. Well, let's say you lose half a pound of muscle per week.
All right.
Oh man.
What about it?
And let's say it takes you 10 weeks to lose that weight because you cut really fast. You know, that's reason. I mean, that can be done. You can drop 20 pounds. 20 pounds, right? So let's say you get to week 10. And this is where people are screwed. They're like, oh, you start doing the math and you lose half a pound of muscle with that pound and a half of fat. You've dropped 20 pounds out of the...
You don't just lose muscle, man. I don't know what he's talking about. You're born with a certain amount of muscle fibers, and their mass and everything there is there. It's there. What are you losing there exactly?
24 you gained, you're still fatter than...
You can't lose anything that you didn't gain. Your muscles, they're not going to go away or whatever, but you can't lose something that you never built. Blaha's nuts. You're gonna lose you're gonna lose muscle. You can't lose what you didn't build. You understand me? You'd have to have built that artificially by lifting weights. Let me explain this, man. People still don't understand. Even if you take steroids and build artificial muscles, who gives a shit? It's cosmetic. But you're still doing it cosmetically as well. You're doing it for cosmetic purpose, lifting this weight, trying to get these muscles and do stuff. It's artificial because you're lifting something man-made. You're doing it artificially. You're not doing it naturally. In nature, your movements would be very specific in nature to get these growth patterns and them pretty much staying and you being very strong in nature. That's why when a pig goes back into nature, it turns into a boar. How does it turn into a boar eventually? It grows hair, tusks for protection, a bunch of stuff. It gets really muscular. What changed? A lot changed. His diet changed and his environment that he lives in changed. You understand me? He wasn't laying around all day, hobbling around. He's running out there in the forest. He's running, he's digging holes with his hooves and doing a bunch of weird shit. Because he's going after animals to eat them. He's going after them to eat them. You understand me? He's eating his natural diet, a boar. He's not eating an artificial diet on a farm and then laying around all day sedentary. Humans are extremely sedentary. They're not hunting anymore. They're not digging, hunting, building things with their hands. They're not climbing trees. They're not doing very specific things that they would do in nature. They also do not eat raw animals like they do in nature. And so we're kind of a poor specimen of a human being, is what you really are.
Where you started.
So what you're building here is artificial. The sarcoplasmic stuff, that's artificial, because in nature you would never eat carbohydrates. They're not a human diet. And number two, so carbs make you fat. That's all you're really getting is fat. Number two, you're not building these muscles. You're not getting any specific adaptations that you would get out in nature. Now, you can kind of mimic them with the weights, causing this damage effect. But again, people don't know how to get them. They don't understand it, and they just run away from it. But whatever. The point is this. In nature, you would get these adaptations naturally in nature, and they would stick around because it's something natural, these movements, everything that you're doing there. But these adaptations you're getting here, the muscular adaptations, they're kind of artificial, bro. Get it? Yeah, they're kind of artificial. And so if you do get a damaging effect, that is still, you're using man-made weights to get these damaging effects, something that you would have gotten in nature by doing things doing things that you're unaccustomed to, and periodically, and doing things that you were unaccustomed to doing in nature, because you're constantly going to do stuff you're unaccustomed to. Listen, lions don't run all the time, and when they do run, they get a damaging effect in their legs. That's why they have to catch their meal right away. If they don't catch it right away, they're going to have to go lay down for 4 days, because that muscle needs time now to repair and remodel again, because they've got some damage now in their muscles. Yeah, because they're unaccustomed to running. They're built for running, but they're unaccustomed to run that much, that fast, that long to try to get that animal. Get it? That's the difference. Yeah.
Because you're still up 4 pounds, you just burned off 5 pounds of the 6 pounds of muscle you gained. So you keep doing it, and you cut a couple more weeks, 2 or 3 more weeks to get down to your original weight. You've now lost all the muscle you gained, probably. You're like, well, I can regain it quick on muscle memory.
No, the only muscle you gained there then was sarcoplasmic. You didn't gain any. The muscle that you lost was fake muscles.
Okay, but you just wasted 8 months of your life.
If you say so.
You wasted 8 months of your life.
Okay. Whatever, Blaha.
Had you just gained a pound a month for that same 8 months, you would be up 8 pounds a month.
Had you just gained a pound a month? Well, how do you know you're gaining a pound of muscle a month, Blaha? You're adapted to all these weights. How are you going to get a pound a month, if it says in science, it tells you that it's beyond where the satellite cell can't donate any more extra nuclei to support further muscle growth after the newbie gain phase? It's kind of obvious. Look, dude. Man, I don't know what's the matter with these people. So here's MND size limit, right? MND size limit. All right, scroll down here. It reached the ceiling limit during hypertrophic process, beyond which extra myonuclei are donated by satellite cell to support further muscle growth. You have reached a ceiling limit during hypertrophic process, beyond where the satellite cell can donate any more extra nuclei to that domain to support further muscle growth. Why is that? Because it reached it when it was at the newbie gains. Look, man. Hold on a second. So you go over here, nuclei overload, precedes hypertrophy, not lost on detraining, scroll down, famous map. Right there. So what does it say there? Untrained, right? You're a newbie. Your newbie gains. Untrained, first training, satellite cell fusion. Look at that. It says satellite cell fusion. Untrained, first trained. Hypertrophy. See it hypertrophied, but look. It's not donating any more extra nuclei to that domain to support what? Further muscle growth. Because all of the nuclei were donated right here in the first training. It says untrained first training. Where do those nuclei come from? Well, read this thing right here. What does it say here? It says previously untrained muscles acquire newly formed nuclei by fusion of satellite cell preceding the hypertrophy. Well, there you go. See, they get it before hypertrophy can happen. Before the muscles can hypertrophy, they got them in this thing here, the satellite cell fusion. See that, dude? And guess what happened? It reached the ceiling limit. That's the ceiling limit during hypertrophic process. Beyond where the what? Satellite cell, right there, that little satellite cell, that little satellite cell can no longer donate any more extra nuclei to that domain to support further muscle growth. Get it? Yeah, broski. And nuclei are postmitotic. I don't know what this is going to tell me. There you go. The idea that muscle nuclei are postmitotic, meaning they are unable to proliferate, is generally accepted in the skeletal muscle research field. There you go. So they don't split and divide. Given that myonuclei are thought to be postmitotic and unable to replenish themselves, they don't replenish themselves because you're lifting a weight adapted. Get it? You get these nuclei when the satellite cell is activated in fusion. Well, what's a unique feature of untrained muscles is that they get damaged. Duh. Well, there you go. So whatever. Oh shit! I just fucking threw that shit away. You get the point, man.
Same 8 months, you would be up 8 pounds of muscle possibly. Same amount of fat roughly. Maybe lose a little, maybe gain a small amount.
I really doubt that.
And this is for people early on in their training, all right? But instead, you made no progress for 8 months. And it's because people got impatient, and then they get burned out, and then they...
Not making progress because you reached the ceiling limit during that hypertrophic process. When you came in, you were untrained. That's a unique feature of eccentric exercise, is that untrained subjects, because stiff and sore next day due to muscle damage, and that newly formed nuclei are there. You get these new nuclei. Get it? Like it said there. Fuck, man. It said there. Untrained muscles get these newly formed nuclei. Yeah.
back off on their training because then they're frustrated.
It never said trained muscles. It never said trained muscles get these nuclei or get a fusion. It never says trained muscles get fusion. It never says trained muscles get damaged from eccentric exercise. It never says trained muscles get... It never says trained muscles get these nuclei and they hypertrophy, or it never says trained muscles get a splitting of the whatever, these postmitotic fucking nuclei. They don't split and divide. They don't increase their... They don't do anything in trained muscles because they're trained. If they're trained, they're not getting any of these adaptations anymore.
Then they restart some stuff. Then they miss a month here. Then they come back.
Yeah, there's something called the rebound effect. I think... what's that guy that does arm wrestling? Sangashvili? Sangashvili, the champion in arm wrestling. He's an example of this rebound effect in getting an adaptation. He'll take off sometimes 2 months. Sometimes he'll take off 4 months. He'll take an entire 4 months and come back, and he can still lift the same heavy weights. You want to know why? Because he built more myofibrillar growth. So there's more of whatever he has, hormones and these fucking motor units to proliferate, and androgen receptors to proliferate through the new muscle fibers that he built, because he's moving for adaptations. His training is mostly to get muscular adaptations. I know that because he'll reach the pinnacle of how much weight he can possibly move until he can't move anymore. And then he just keeps it there at the top. And nobody can move him.
Right? It's a vicious cycle.
Brian Shaw may be stronger than Sangashvili at strongman, but Sangashvili is stronger than Brian Shaw physically. He's stronger. He can rip Brian Shaw's arm out right off. Yeah. Because he has more muscle fibers. The more fibers you gain, the stronger you become. You shall become.
This is called the continual novice.
Blaha is weak. He looks weak and frail. A big, tall dude walking down the street who never lifted weights. A young guy. Big, tall dude. He's not scared of Blaha. Doesn't give a shit. Doesn't even know that Blaha can lift a weight. He's not going to move for Blaha. Blaha's skinny and he looks frail. He's not scared of a frail old man like Blaha. You understand me? Because Blaha has no power. He may take drugs to lift a weight. He can move a heavy weight using, whatever you call this, the nervous system. I don't know how a nervous system makes you physically stronger. Maybe better at lifting a heavy weight, but it's not a fiber. A nerve is not a fiber. It's not a muscle fiber. You understand me? You need more muscle fibers. I'm not saying your nerves shouldn't be working. They should be working. But if you want to get physically bigger and stronger, you're going to need more myofibrillars. Get it?
Now, the reality.
That's reality.
If they were going to bulk like that, they need to accept being fat. And if you choose to do that, that's fine. Just accept you're going to be fat for 5 years. Because you're going to have to gain a bunch of muscle, and then they'll slow the bulk, and then they'll recomp some as they get used to it and stay consistent. Because at least they got gains and they're motivated, right? And then they can cut down after quite a few years. They can do that. But you still got to be patient in that and just accept you're going to be 25% body fat with a belly. Or you could go back and do what I just said. If people were just patient, said, you know, I really know that even anything more than a pound a month is 100% just going to be fat. Let me just work on gaining a pound a month. Or what if some of those months I only gain half a pound? Or a fourth.
So why isn't Blaha gaining a pound a month? Why isn't he gaining a pound every single month? Because he's losing a pound every month because he doesn't move for adaptations. His training is not bodybuilding. This isn't bodybuilding.
Of a pounder doesn't really move and you recomp to hair, and then the next month you...
Bodybuilding is based on adaptations, trying to get more adaptations to build real muscles. But at some point, people lost it because they lost this ability to get these adaptations. They don't understand it. And so they get frustrated because they're like, well, how come these muscles aren't growing? Well, because they're post-mitotic. The nuclei themselves that are there are post-mitotic in the muscles. They're post-mitotic. They don't know how to split and divide because you're just waving your arms in the air. Now, if you want to get more of these nuclei to support further muscle growth, well, then you're going to have to activate the satellite cell. Okay, so what activates it? Micro injuries. These injuries activate the satellite cell. It's really simple. And then it can donate its nuclei because what do? They repair the nuclei, they repair and remodel that area. That's how they donate their nuclei to that domain to support further muscle growth. It's during the remodeling phase. That remodeling phase, there's more material there, and thus it'll be bigger and stronger to support more muscle growth. Get it? So yeah, man. But anyway, like I said, each to their own.
Gain a pound. Yeah. Well, then what happens? What if you just do that for a year and a half? But even if you did that for that first year and you gain 9 or 10 pounds of solid muscle with no real fat gain for that 1 year, first year.
You think Blaha is giving you good advice that you should bulk, so you should get fat eating an artificial fake diet? Again, artificial fake diet, bulk. He didn't say eat protein and get big. He said bulk. Bulk means to eat fake food, to build some fake muscles.
Instead of spinning your wheels because of the other, all you had to do was be patient. That's it.
That's why he's such a shitty coach. He copies everybody else. Monkey here, monkey do, monkey see, monkey do, monkey here, monkey do. Huh.
But everyone goes, but it was too slow. No, it wasn't too slow. It was perfect. And that's what people don't understand with the slow muscle gain process. It wasn't too slow. It was optimal. It was perfect.
No, it's nothing because Blaha is not building any muscle. He's never built any muscles. The most he ever got was at the newbie gain phase, bro. Get it? I told you, it is astronomically difficult to pass and get more adaptations after the newbie gain phase. It's astronomically difficult for people.
It was absolutely perfect. But you weren't
You are fighting an uphill battle.
patient enough to do optimal. And then it costs you. In other words, then people just spin their wheels. And it's the other time you get people all the time, well, you know, but just trying to stay to gain that slow, you spin your wheels. No, you just make really, really, really slow gains. But they add up.
They do. They get some.
They add up over time.
Yeah, and then they find out it's fake. It's some sarcoplasmic fake hypertrophy gains, and then they get frustrated.
And you end up just looking better and being stronger.
Wow, Blaha's fading away there.
Jacked, and you just accept that it's a slow
More stronger and more jacked? Okay.
process. But then at least you're staying consistent. You're not having
Slow process. It's a fast process because I just came in the gym for a couple of sessions. I came in like 6 times or something, and I look hard and big, and I'm really strong already. And If I was to stick around a couple more weeks, I'll probably even get better. I have to time my eating after my workout. That's probably what I'm missing out on. I'm not timing enough, not eating enough after my workout. You know what I mean? It should be like, gotta go early workout and then go down to the buffet right after the workouts, the upper body and then the legs. Go right to the buffet and then eat for a couple hours. And then keep eating throughout the day when I get home. And then the next day, the same thing. Go do legs and then go down to buffet, eat, and then repeat. And then keep eating the rest of the week a lot like that. And keep going to the buffet at least another 2 more times or so.
Those setbacks, you stay motivated, and then you just follow it through for years and years and years and years, and you get the results.
Yeah, that's all I want to do is hang around the gym for years and years and years and years, and then finally I'll get some results. And then meanwhile, it's just the results are really bullshit.
Then it just becomes a way of life. All right, guys.
Yes, and then it just becomes a way of life. You're chasing something that is elusive and you're wasting your time. It became a way of life, becoming a gym slave. Chasing the elusive muscle and whatever, and it never works out for anybody.
That's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.
What a waste of time. Look at Blaha. He's so ridiculous. This guy is too much for me. See you in the next one. Ciao, friends. Tell me what you think about that. Like, subscribe, share the video if you liked it.